quite a distance. It was a 2.5 hour return journey, and they have been suffering with, in particular, that this is their right ear, for the last year or so. And their main symptoms are severe itchiness and irritation, and also in the right ear there's a bit of tenderness, a bit of swelling near the entrance, which will become a bit more visible as I start removing this dead skin. So as you probably saw there was no occluding earwax. We could see the eardrum in its whole entirety, but the whole ear canal was coated with a layer of dead, itchy, irritable skin. And so we call this otitis externa. Otitis externa is an umbrella term given to an infection and or inflammation that exists exclusively in the ear canal and the outermost membrane of the eardrum. If you have an infection behind the eardrum itself, we would call that otitis media. And you get different types of otitis externa. You can get superficial. Superficial is when you've just got dry skin, a bit of almost like eczema or psoriasis of the ear canal. You can then get deep otitis externa. That's when you've got a bit of inflammation and swelling of the ear canal as well. And then you can get what we call malignant or necrotizing otitis externa, and that's the most severe form. And that is more typical in elderly patients or patients who are diabetic, and people who are immunocompromised. So when you've got an outer ear infection, the body's natural immune system can't fight it, and the infection just rages more and more. And it can start chewing up flesh around the ear canal. It can migrate towards, it can affect the facial nerve, which is located in the middle ear near the cochlea, the organ of hearing. It can also spread upwards towards the brain, underneath the meninges, so it can cause meningitis and brain abscess. So it can be quite serious necrotizing and malignant otitis externa. So this patient, you would say she's got superficial otitis externa, but also just at the entrance there's a bit of a swelling there, so you could also call it a bit of deep otitis externa. And what we're trying to do is just peel this skin layer away from her canal walls. And this skin's not going to naturally migrate itself. The patient's ear canal is quite narrow, so it's a bit limited for space in there. And if you keep watching, you'll see this is a complete dead skin peel. It's from the entrance of the ear canal all the way to the eardrum. And in fact, we actually peeled a whole new layer of skin off the eardrum itself to reveal a brand new layer that was there. And at first appearance, it didn't appear that there was any dead skin on the eardrum. It was only once we started peeling this towards the drum and then finally off the drum, we realised that there was actually a fresher layer of dead skin secreted already behind the dead layer that was coating it. So I'm just using a fine end gauge just to peel this off the anterior canal wall. And the skin is a bit sticky, so it's a bit more tricky. It kept blocking the tube as well. And in a moment, we're going to use forceps as well. You can see I'm just going to target the top part of the ear canal now. So we want to peel the skin all the way around if possible. So I've peeled it already from the base of the ear canal and also from the back part of the ear canal and the front. And now I'm just peeling it off the roof. And you can see it's peeling all the way down towards the eardrum, so medially. Now, interestingly, this patient started developing her itchy dry ears after being diagnosed with menopause, and she previously watched a couple of my other videos where I had patients who also were either premenopausal or menopausal and ascribed the symptoms and the onset of their dry itchy ears at the same time as being diagnosed as their menopause. And anecdotally, at least, I feel there is a link there. Women who are menopausal or premenopausal are known to develop itchy, dry skin elsewhere, other parts of the body. And so it's, for me at least anyway, it's very clear, in the absence of any clinical evidence, but just anecdotally, that there is a link there. And so the treatment plan is the patient's going to use some acetic acid for the next 7 days. They've previously been prescribed antibiotic ear spray. And if the acetic acid doesn't work or is not helpful, we're going to request the GP to re-prescribe that, to do a repeat prescription. And once they've used the acetic acid, I've just advised the patient to use some olive oil spray. Now the olive oil that we recommend is it's a medical grade olive oil. It's a safe use in the ear. It's not olive oil at home in the kitchen. So, and just to use that on a regular basis, just to help moisturize the ear canal. Because you can see even below this dead layer of skin, the undercoat is also very dry already. You can see these little white skin flakes there that are visible. So we're just approaching the eardrum now, trying to get underneath this dead skin, get a suction grip, and not only am I trying to lift it up, I'm trying to also lift it away. So I'm actually, with the suction tip, I'm actually going towards the eardrum, pausing, then going up. So I'm lifting it up off the bottom of the ear canal. You can see this layer of dead skin. It's translucent in appearance. It's keratinous. So keratinous is a protein which we also find on our nails and hairs. So this skin layer, it's stratified. So the term stratified means there's layers of skin. And initially, this keratinous skin that you're seeing right now, this yellowy appearance, was freshly secreted skin that was touching the surface of the ear canal wall. And during the process of mitosis, so cell division and replication, the sister cell then pushed the original skin cell upwards. And because it's further away from the ear canal, it has a less rich blood supply. And then that the sister cell that pushed this dead skin cell upwards then has another sister cell. So eventually the skin that we're removing now, at once upon a time, was actually coating the ear canal, but through its sister cells that it replicated and duplicated, it got pushed upwards away from the ear canal, and this is now the outermost layer of the skin. And just going to come back to that in a moment. So just using the forceps to peel this, you can see it's peeling away off the eardrum there. And you'll see this piece, that's the still image on the thumbnail. There you can see just how shiny and glossy the eardrum is now. On the right hand side of the ear canal, you've got the fresh layer of skin. So the further away the skin is from the ear canal, so as I said, it's got 5 stratified layers, it receives less blood flow, so that the intracellular fluid within the cell, it's unable to retain that. So, and what replaces that is keratin, which is a protein. Keratin has its useful properties. It helps to reflect UV radiation, so it's a protective barrier. Keratin is also hydrophobic, so it helps to repel water out of the ear, so it doesn't penetrate into the deep part of the ear canal, into the fresh layer of skin. So keratin does have its uses. Now, in most people, this skin, as it dies and sheds, it moves sideways out of the ear, almost like a conveyor belt. But in this patient, this skin, although it died, it didn't shed, and it just remained on the canal wall, hence why it's causing the patient extreme itchiness and irritation. So I mentioned at the beginning, the ear was a bit tender. It's just tender here at the entrance of the ear. Now the patient did admit to allowing water to enter their ears. So we've discussed strict water precautions with the patient. We don't want any water to get in the ear because that can exacerbate symptoms of otitis externa. I'm just using the Jobson horn here just to gently remove any dead skin from the entrance of the ears. This is where the ear is a bit tender and swollen and inflamed, just here to the right especially. And that's the eardrum, nice and healthy. There's a still image of that sheet, that disc of dead skin that I peeled off the eardrum using the forceps. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Now, I'm decided not to do any Q&As for a while. It's just, I've read some of the comments and I appreciate that, although it's a useful exercise, that it takes away from the video. So I'm going to have to come up with a different format and methodology to answer your questions. I do enjoy doing that. So I'm just going to go back to the drawing board and have a think about it and see how I can